Hi there, and welcome back to The Cult. Today we're discussing the 1989 sci-fi comedy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a film about dumb guys time traveling. It started, as many great things do, in an improv class, with the writers Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson. As Solomon said, we decided to do a couple of guys who know nothing about history, talking about history. As they began to develop this into a film, one of the first studios interested was Warner Brothers. It didn't go so well. First, the writers were pressured to turn the film into more of a summer teen comedy. One of the big changes was that Bill and Ted were given an actual reason to be idolized, whereas before, it had simply been because they passed their history report or something. The writers didn't like a lot of the changes, and eventually, Warner Brothers dropped the project. Next, they brought it to the studio DEG. They got director Stephen Herrick, and the concept began to move along, with the idea of the telephone box developing. Originally, the time travel machine was going to be a van, but it was decided that was too close to Back to the Future. So it went from Back to the Future to Doctor Who. Anyway, DEG went bankrupt. Nelson Entertainment picked up the project, and it finally happened. Keanu Reeves was cast as Ted, and Alex Winters as Bill. Bill and Ted did fine in the box office, making a fairly successful $4 million. At the start, it was only really popular among teens, but it's when it began to reach a more widespread audience that the film started to be considered as a cult film. The reason it got its audience was probably just because the movie was very goofy. And that was intentional. Most sci-fi movies, even sci-fi comedies, will have some concern with their logic. But not Bill and Ted. They had no concerns about paradoxes, or about historical figures being traumatized by their kidnappings. Within the first 15 minutes, the film had already broken one of the most common time travel rules. Bill and Ted had seen future versions of themselves. And that disregard for logic was necessary. Solomon said that the writers always tried to do the weirder, less obvious choice. And the writers weren't even satisfied with their level of weirdness. They've said in interviews since that they wish they could have really let loose. Even so, it's quite a fun and ridiculous movie, and that's perhaps best demonstrated by Bill and Ted themselves. As Solomon said, we considered Bill and Ted to be these innocents, who would wander into any situation wide-eyed and treat everyone exactly the same, completely open, completely friendly. They'd treat the kid sitting next to them in math class the same as Abraham Lincoln, without any sense of the context in which they lived. So they're these breezy, friendly guys, but within the realm of the story, they're vastly important to the universe. Their music shapes the future foundations of the world, which makes no sense. But that's the point. The movie shows the importance of being silly and lighthearted and jovial, and not caring too much about logic or taking things too seriously, and it's just a most beguiling film. So there's since been a sequel, with a third movie in the works. There have been both live-action and animated TV series adaptations, and, most importantly, there was a cereal. Excellent! Halloween is coming up, so for next time, we're watching Donnie Darko. Available on Netflix and iTunes. As always, if you know of any other places to watch it, share those wherever. Also, let us know what you think of the movie as well as what you think of Bill and Ted as a cult classic. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, please like this, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. Be excellent to each other, and party on.